A surprising personal scheme unfolds at the Abbott mansion when Harrison Abbott sends alarming messages to Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman, making them believe he is in danger. The emergency turns out to be a setup designed to bring them together. Once they arrive, Harrison quizzes them on their favorite things in an effort to prove they are still a good match. Although Kyle and Claire insists they are just friends, the encounter clearly stirs unresolved feelings. Kyle privately admits that he still misses her. Moments later, Clara sees a text from Holden Novak and leaves to meet him, choosing not to share the truth with either Kyle or Harrison, adding another layer of emotional complication. Meanwhile, Victor Newman continues playing high-level mind games in his battle with Kane Ashp. He tells Adam that he plans to track down Lily, Maddie, and Charlie and make Kane believe they are in danger. Victor makes it clear he would never actually harm them, but intends to use the perception of risk as leverage. The strategy fuels new tension within the Newman family. Victoria grows frustrated that Victor is confiding in Adam while keeping her in the dark. She vents to Nikki, who worries that Victor's escalating tactics will only make the feud with Kane more destructive. Victor also reveals critical information he learned from Snapper Foster. Jill Abbott has a serious heart condition and must avoid stress, a factor that Victor quietly considers in shaping his pressure strategy. Elsewhere, the fallout from the Matt Clark saga continues. It is officially confirmed that Matt has been arrested and is being held without bail. Sharon feels relieved, but Nick remains cautious and warns that Matt should not be underestimated. Sienna Beale moves forward with an annulment and secures Matt's assets, staying firm in her plan to return to Los Angeles. Noah Newman shares another major development. He now owns the Shadow Room. Despite concern from his parents, Noah decides that if Sienna is moving to Los Angeles, he will go with her, even if it means managing his new club from a distance. Looking ahead, Victor is set to put Phyllis Summers and Kane on notice on Tuesday, January 27th, while Mariah Copeland begins spiraling under the influence of her hallucinations tied to Ian Ward. As the week continues, attention shifts toward a looming crisis for Abby and Devin when Dominic Winters is reported missing. The Young and the Restless. Secrets, schemes, and life-changing decisions. Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Monday's episode of The Young and the Restless was absolutely packed with emotional moments, strategic scheming, and decisions that are going to change multiple lives. We got Harrison playing matchmaker, Victor revealing the full extent of his manipulation tactics, and Noah making a choice that's going to worry everyone who loves him. So, let's break down everything that happened and what it means for the week ahead. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because the rest of this week is going to be intense and you need to be here for every moment. Alright, let's dive in. Monday's episode opened with what appeared to be an emergency. Harrison Abbott sends alarming messages to both Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman. Messages that make it sound like he's in danger, like something terrible is happening. So naturally, both Kyle and Claire rush to the Abbott mansion immediately, because when a child sends messages that sound urgent, that sound like an emergency, you drop everything and go. But when they arrive, they discover that there's no actual emergency. This is a ruse. This is Harrison's elaborate plan to get both of them in the same place at the same time. And what's Harrison's goal? He's trying to be a matchmaker. He's trying to prove that Kyle and Claire are still compatible, that they're still a good match despite their current just friend status. So, Harrison quizzes them on their favorite things. He asks questions designed to show how well they know each other, how much they have in common, how perfect they are together. And here's what makes this both adorable and heartbreaking. Harrison's just a kid who wants the people he loves to be together. He doesn't understand all the complicated adult reasons why Kyle and Claire aren't a couple anymore. He just sees two people who clearly care about each other, and he's trying to fix it in the only way he knows how. Kyle and Claire play along with the quiz. They answer Harrison's questions, and they emphasize to him and to each other that they are just friends now. That's their official status. That's what they've agreed to. But both of them are affected by the day. Both of them are feeling the weight of what they've lost, the connection they still have, the feelings that haven't gone away just because they've decided to be just friends. Kyle admits to Harrison that he misses Claire. That's a huge admission. He's acknowledging his feelings, not just to himself, but out loud in front of his son. He's being honest about the fact that their breakup has left a void in his life. And you have to imagine that Claire hears this, or at least she senses it because the emotional tension between them is palpable. But here's where things get complicated. While Kyle's admitting that he misses Claire, while they're both navigating these complicated feelings, Claire receives a text from Holden Novak. And Claire doesn't tell Kyle or Harrison about this text. She doesn't mention that she's been communicating with someone else. She just leaves to meet Holden, hiding the truth from both of them. Think about what that means. Claire's still got unresolved feelings for Kyle. We know that from her emotional reaction to seeing him, from the way she looks at him with sadness, but she's also moving forward with someone new. Is she trying to force herself to move on? Is she hoping that spending time with Holden will help her get over Kyle? Or has she genuinely developed feelings for Holden that are separate from whatever she still feels for Kyle? We don't know yet. But what we do know is that hiding the truth about where she's going, who she's meeting, that's going to cause problems because secrets always come out. And when Kyle eventually finds out that Claire left their emotional reunion to go meet another man, he's going to be hurt. And Harrison, he's going to be confused because from his perspective, his plan worked. He proved that Kyle and Claire are compatible. He got his dad to admit that he misses Claire. So, why aren't they getting back together? Kids don't understand the complicated dance that adults do around relationships. They don't understand pride, fear of rejection, timing issues, or any of the other factors that keep two people apart, even when they clearly still have feelings for each other. So Harrison's probably going to keep pushing. He's going to keep trying to get Kyle and Claire together. And every time he does, it's going to make the situation more awkward and more painful for everyone involved. Now, let's shift gears and talk about what's happening with Victor Newman because Monday's episode gave us the full picture of Victor's tactical mind games against Kane. Victor plans to track down Lily, Maddie, and Charlie to make Kane, Ashby believe they are in harm's way, and he's very explicit with Adam about what this plan entails. Victor admits that he would never actually hurt them. That's an important clarification because for a moment there when we first heard about this plan, some of us might have wondered if Victor had finally crossed a line into actual violence against innocent people. But Victor's not planning to hurt Lily or her children. What he's planning is psychological warfare. He wants to use the perception of danger as leverage. He's going to create a situation where Kane believes his family is in jeopardy, where Kane feels terror, panic, fear for the people he loves. And in that moment of vulnerability, when Kane's rational thinking is overwhelmed by emotion, Victor's going to force him to surrender in the corporate battle. It's manipulation at its finest. It's ruthless, calculating, and exactly the kind of thing Victor Newman excels at. But not everyone in the Newman family is comfortable with this approach. Victoria is frustrated that Victor is confiding in Adam while leaving her out of his schemes. Think about how that must feel for Victoria. She's been the loyal daughter, the one who's always stood by Newman Enterprises, the one who sacrificed personal happiness for the sake of the company. And now, in a critical moment, her father is turning to Adam instead of her. Adam who's been unreliable. Adam who's betrayed the family multiple times. Adam, who Victor has banished and welcomed back more times than anyone can count. And yet, that's who Victor chooses to bring into his confidence. That's who Victor trusts with his most important schemes. Victoria vents to Nikki about this. And you can imagine the frustration, the hurt, the sense of being undervalued that's driving that conversation. And Nikki's worried, too. But Nikki's worry is about something different. She's concerned that Victor's escalation will only make the war with Kane more destructive because Nikki can see where this is heading. She can see that Victor's not just trying to win the corporate battle. He's trying to destroy Kane completely. He's letting his need for revenge, his ego, his refusal to be beaten drive him to tactics that are going to have consequences beyond just the immediate conflict. And Nikki knows Victor well enough to understand that once he goes down this path, once he commits to total war, innocent people get hurt. Collateral damage happens, and the situation spirals out of control. So Nikki's trying to sound the alarm. She's trying to make Victor and Victoria understand that this approach is dangerous. But will they listen? Probably not. Because once Victor's made up his mind, he doesn't change course easily. Now, Here's where Victor's plan gets even more insidious. Victor reveals a secret he learned from Snapper Foster. Jill Abbott has a serious heart condition and must avoid stress. Think about the implications of that information. Victor now knows that Jill is medically vulnerable. He knows that stress could literally kill her, and he's going to use that information as a weapon. This information becomes a key component in how Victor plans to pressure his enemies. Because if Victor can create enough stress, enough chaos, enough pressure around Chancellor and the corporate battle, he can potentially trigger a health crisis for Jill. Now, Victor probably wouldn't consciously try to kill Jill. He's ruthless, but he's not a murderer, but he's absolutely willing to use her vulnerability as leverage. He's willing to create situations that put stress on her knowing that her health is fragile. And that's morally questionable at best because Jill's an innocent party in this conflict. She's not the one attacking Newman Enterprises. She's not partnering with Phyllis. She's just trying to protect her own company and her own legacy. So targeting her health, even indirectly, crosses a line that many people would consider unforgivable. But Victor's going to justify it to himself. He's going to say that all's fair in war, that Kane started this, that he's just using the tools available to him to protect his family. And maybe that's true from a certain perspective, but it doesn't make it right. Now, let's talk about what's happening in the aftermath of the Matt Clark saga because Monday's episode gave us some important updates. It's officially confirmed that Matt Clark has been arrested and is being held without bail. So, the immediate threat is neutralized. Matt's locked up, unable to hurt Sharon or anyone else, and Sharon is relieved. She's finally able to breathe, to feel safe, to start thinking about moving forward with her life. But Nick remains wary. He warns that Matt is a pest who shouldn't be underestimated. And Nick's right to be cautious because we know from spoilers that Matt's probably going to escape at some point. We know that this isn't really over, even though it might seem like it is right now. So, while Sharon's allowing herself to feel safe, Nick's still on guard. He's still watching, still waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that difference in their attitudes is going to create some tension because Sharon needs to heal. She needs to be able to move on from the trauma Matt put her through. And Nick's constant warnings, his refusal to believe it's really over, might make it harder for her to do that. Meanwhile, Sienna Beale is moving forward with her plans. She's getting an annulment from Matt. She's seizing his assets and she's adamant about returning to Los Angeles. Sienna's done with Genoa City. She's done with the nightmare her life became here. And she wants to go back to LA, start over, put all of this behind her. But Noah has other plans. Noah reveals that he now owns the Shadow Room. That's a big deal. That's a successful business that he's just acquired. That's a responsibility, an investment, a commitment to Genoa City. And despite that, despite his parents' concerns, Noah decides that if Sienna is going to LA, he's going with her. He's willing to run his new club from a distance. He's willing to manage it remotely, the way he does with his London business, because being with Sienna is more important to him than being physically present in Genoa City. Now, we can debate whether that's romantic or reckless. We can question whether Noah's making this decision for the right reasons, or whether he's running away from the trauma of recent events. But what's clear is that Noah's made up his mind. And his parents' concerns aren't going to change it. Nick and Sharon are probably terrified. They're probably thinking that Noah's throwing away his future for a woman who might not even want him to make this sacrifice. Because remember, Sienna's been telling Noah that he belongs in Genoa City. She's not asking him to come to LA with her. So Noah's making a choice that Sienna herself has questioned, and that raises red flags for his parents. But Noah's an adult. He gets to make his own decisions, even if those decisions worry the people who love him. So, we're probably going to see Nick and Sharon struggle with how to handle this. Do they try to talk Noah out of it? Do they express their concerns and then step back? Do they support his decision, even though they think it's a mistake? Those are difficult questions for any parent, and there are no easy answers. Now, let's look ahead to what's coming because Monday's episode set up the conflicts that are going to explode over the rest of the week. On Tuesday, January 27th, Victor's going to put Phyllis and Kane on notice. He's going to make it clear that he knows what they're doing, that he's not going to tolerate their attack on his family, and that he's preparing to strike back, and that confrontation is going to be intense. Because Victor doesn't make empty threats. When he says someone's on notice, he means it. And Phyllis and Kane are about to find out just how ruthless Victor can be when his family is under attack. Also on Tuesday, Mariah begins to spiral under the influence of her Ian Ward hallucinations. We're going to start seeing the visible signs of her mental breakdown. We're going to see her acting strangely, making decisions that don't make sense, being influenced by voices and visions that aren't real. And this is building toward the major crisis. That's coming later in the week. Because as the week progresses, the focus is going to shift to an emergency for Abby and Devon. Dominic Winters is going to be reported missing, and Monday's episode is the calm before that storm. Monday is when all the pieces are being put in place. The characters are making decisions, forming plans, setting events in motion that are going to converge into crisis. So, when we look back at Monday's episode after the chaos of the rest of the week, we're going to see all the warning signs. We're going to see Mariah starting to unravel. We're going to see Victor's schemes becoming more elaborate. We're going to see relationships straining under pressure. Monday was set up. The rest of the week is going to be payoff. Now, let's think about the broader themes that Monday's episode was exploring. Because underneath all the plot mechanics, there are some really interesting character dynamics at play. Harrison's matchmaker plot is about a child trying to fix something that adults have complicated. He sees a simple problem. Two people who love each other aren't together, and he tries a simple solution. But adult relationships are never that simple, and Harrison's going to learn that lesson, probably painfully. Victor's tactical mind games are about control and legacy. Victor can't stand the idea of someone successfully attacking what he's built. So, he's willing to do whatever it takes, use whatever leverage he has to maintain control and protect his empire. Victoria's frustration is about recognition and value. She's tired of being overlooked, tired of being shut out, tired of doing everything right, and still not being treated as Victor's equal. Noah's decision is about love and escape. Is he following Sienna because he genuinely wants to build a life with her, or is he running away from the trauma and chaos in Genoa City? All of these storylines are asking fundamental questions about what drives people's choices. And the answers are complicated, layered, sometimes contradictory. That's what makes the young and the restless so compelling. These aren't one-dimensional characters making obvious choices. They're complex people with competing motivations, unresolved traumas, and blind spots they can't see. So, here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Harrison's matchmaker plan is going to ultimately help or hurt Kyle and Claire's relationship? Is he going to bring them back together or push them further apart? What about Victor's plan to fake danger for Lily and her kids? Is that justified as a tactical move? Or is it crossing a moral line that Victor shouldn't cross? Do you think Victoria's frustration with Victor is valid? Should Victor be including her in his schemes instead of Adam? And what about Noah? Is he making a huge mistake by following Sienna to LA? Or is he doing exactly what he should do, following his heart and taking a chance on love? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me what you thought of Monday's episode and what you're most looking forward to or most dreading as the week continues. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on because Tuesday's episode is going to escalate everything we saw on Monday, and you need to be here for it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, in Genoa City, every decision has consequences, and every secret eventually comes to light. Stay dramatic.